Explosive revelations are rocking the hip-hop world as Camron exposes Chrissy's dark past, leaving fans and insiders stunned. Sources close to the situation reveal that the disclosure has created an immediate ripple effect, with Jim Jones reportedly walking out in silence, signaling shock, disappointment, and disbelief. The revelation is being described as a turning point in the dynamic between the artists, highlighting tension, long-held secrets, and the high stakes of personal and professional relationships in the industry. Insiders suggest that Camron's disclosure was both calculated and unavoidable, shedding light on aspects of Chrissy's past that many assumed were private. Friends close to the situation report that the exposure has led to intense speculation about motivations, trust, and the future of alliances within their circle. Observers note that the combination of personal revelations and public scrutiny has amplified the impact, making the situation a topic of widespread conversation and debate. According to sources, Jim Jones' silent departure speaks volumes, reflecting a mix of shock, strategic restraint, and the difficulty of processing unexpected information. Friends indicate that his reaction underscores the gravity of the revelation and highlights the complexity of navigating personal loyalty, public perception, and professional dynamics simultaneously. Social media platforms are already buzzing, dissecting every moment and reaction, further intensifying the situation and keeping fans deeply engaged. This revelation promises to escalate tensions, test alliances, and spark debates across the hip-hop community, as Camron exposes Chrissy's past and Jim Jones' reaction captures attention. The unfolding drama is poised to become one of the most talked-about moments in recent entertainment history. The hip-hop world was thrown into chaos as Camron publicly exposed Chrissy's dark past, revealing details that had long been hidden from fans and insiders alike. Friends close to the situation report that the revelation has caused immediate tension within their circle, particularly affecting Jim Jones, who reportedly left the room in complete silence. Sources suggest that his silent departure reflected a combination of shock, disappointment, and the difficulty of processing information that directly challenged both his trust and understanding of the people around him. Observers note that the incident illustrates how personal histories and secrets can have significant repercussions in professional and social circles, particularly when exposed in a public or semi-public forum. Insiders reveal that Camron's disclosure was carefully calculated, designed to shed light on aspects of Chrissy's past that had remained private until now. Friends close to Camron suggest that the revelation was motivated not by malice, but by a desire to address lingering questions, clarify past events, and provide context for ongoing conflicts. Sources indicate that the disclosure touched on sensitive matters, creating a ripple effect of emotions, speculation, and debates among peers, friends, and fans alike. Observers emphasize that when personal histories intersect with professional dynamics, even a single revelation can dramatically shift relationships and public perception. According to insiders, Chrissy's reaction to the exposure was intense and complex. Friends report that she experienced a mix of anger, embarrassment, and anxiety, struggling to process the sudden unveiling of information she considered private. Sources suggest that her emotional response was further complicated by the presence of Jim Jones and other close associates, who were witnessing the fallout firsthand. Observers note that the combination of personal exposure and public attention can magnify emotional reactions, making every interaction loaded with potential consequences. Friends close to Jim Jones report that his silent departure was both a strategic and emotional response. Sources indicate that he needed time to process the revelations before deciding how to respond, reflecting the high stakes of navigating personal loyalty, professional reputation, and public perception simultaneously. Insider accounts emphasize that in high-profile circles, silence can be as powerful as words, conveying shock, disapproval, or careful consideration without escalating conflict prematurely. Observers note that his choice to leave quietly demonstrates the complexities of handling sensitive revelations under scrutiny. Social media quickly became a battleground for opinions and speculation, Friends report that fans began dissecting every aspect of Camron's disclosure, Chrissy's reaction, and Jim Jones' departure, creating a feedback loop of commentary, debate, and rumor. Sources suggest that this amplified scrutiny not only intensified emotions within the inner circle, but also influenced how all parties navigated their next moves. Observers emphasize that in the digital age, personal revelations are rarely contained, and online engagement can significantly shape the trajectory of conflict and reputation management. Insiders note that the exposure of Chrissy's past has reignited long-standing tensions and questions within their group. Friends report that discussions are ongoing, both publicly and privately, regarding trust, accountability, and the dynamics of relationships affected by the revelations. Sources suggest that the situation has prompted reflection, reassessment, and strategic planning, as each individual considers the implications of the disclosure for personal and professional relationships. Observers highlight that the interplay between emotion, strategy, and public perception is central to understanding the unfolding drama. According to sources, Camron's approach to revealing Chrissy's past was methodical, balancing transparency with sensitivity to the reactions of those involved. Friends close to the situation indicate that he anticipated strong reactions, particularly from Jim Jones, and prepared for both immediate fallout and longer-term implications. Insider accounts suggest that the careful management of timing, tone, and context was key to ensuring the revelation had maximum clarity and impact, while minimizing unnecessary escalation. Observers note that in high-profile conflicts, strategic disclosure is as important as the content of the information itself. Friends close to Chrissy reveal that she has been actively managing her response to the exposure, balancing emotional processing with strategic communication. Sources indicate that she is aware of the potential for public misinterpretation and is taking steps to assert control over her narrative. Insider accounts suggest that this careful navigation reflects the pressures of maintaining agency, reputation, and emotional stability when private matters become public. Observers emphasize that Chrissy's approach demonstrates the dual challenge of handling both personal feelings and external scrutiny. Insiders reveal that Jim Jones' silence has been a focal point of discussion among friends and fans. Sources suggest that his quiet departure reflects both respect for the emotional intensity of the moment and the need to maintain strategic composure. Friends indicate that he is carefully considering his next steps, weighing personal loyalty, public perception, and professional dynamics before making a move. Observers note that his restraint underscores the power of controlled reactions in high-pressure scenarios, where impulsive responses could exacerbate conflict or damage reputations. Social media analysis shows that the story has captured the attention of fans who are actively dissecting every detail. Friends report that comments range from support for Camron's transparency to criticism of Chrissy's past actions, as well as speculation about Jim Jones' next move. Sources suggest that this public scrutiny creates additional pressure for all involved, as their actions are continuously interpreted, judged, and amplified online. Sources highlight that the situation provides insight into how high-profile individuals navigate complex personal revelations, manage loyalty, and respond to public scrutiny. Observers note that the combination of personal stakes, professional dynamics, and fan engagement makes this unfolding story both compelling and instructive. The fallout from Camron exposing Chrissy's dark past continued to ripple through their circle, with insiders revealing that tensions escalated as the news spread. Friends close to the situation report that Remy Ma, who had been observing the developments, expressed concern over how the revelation would affect alliances, relationships, and public perception. Sources indicate that the exposure not only shocked Jim Jones, but also raised questions about trust, loyalty, and the long-term implications of airing sensitive personal history in a public context. Observers note that when high-profile individuals are involved, personal disclosures can quickly shift from private drama to widespread speculation. influencing both fan reactions and professional dynamics. According to insiders, Chrissy was caught off guard by the intensity of the response. Friends report that she struggled with a combination of embarrassment, frustration, and anxiety as she faced scrutiny from peers and fans alike. Sources suggest that the emotional toll of having personal details revealed publicly was compounded by the unpredictability of responses from those closest to her. Observers note that the intersection of private vulnerability and public attention creates a uniquely high-pressure environment, where emotional reactions are magnified and every gesture is analyzed. Friends close to Jim Jones describe his silence as a deliberate strategy, reflecting both shock and the need to process the revelations before taking action. Sources suggest that leaving quietly allowed him to maintain composure while weighing the implications for his relationships and public image. Insider accounts indicate that strategic restraint can be as powerful as confrontation in high-stakes scenarios, particularly when navigating the fallout from sensitive personal disclosures. Observers emphasize that silence in this context conveys both authority and thoughtfulness, highlighting the complexity of responding to dramatic revelations. Social media quickly became a major force in shaping the narrative. Friends report that fans dissected every detail of Camron's revelation, Chrissy's reaction, and Jim Jones' departure, generating widespread speculation and debate. Sources suggest that digital platforms amplified the emotional intensity, creating pressure on all parties to manage their image carefully. Observers note that in the age of instant communication, the public's attention can influence personal interactions and strategic choices, turning private matters into a high-profile spectacle. Insiders reveal that discussions among friends, collaborators, and industry peers were immediate and intense. Friends close to the situation report that debates centered on trust, accountability, and how personal histories intersect with professional relationships. Sources suggest that these conversations highlighted both the potential risks and the necessary strategies for navigating public perception in light of sensitive disclosures. Observers note that these behind-the-scenes interactions are critical for understanding the full scope of the fallout, as they reveal how decisions are made under scrutiny. According to sources, Camron's disclosure was executed with deliberate timing and strategic intent. Friends close to him indicate that he carefully considered how the revelation would be received, anticipating strong reactions from both Chrissy and Jim Jones. Insider accounts reveal that managing the disclosure's impact required balancing transparency with awareness of potential emotional and professional consequences. Observers note that high-profile conflicts often hinge on not just the content of information shared, but also the timing, context, and delivery. Friends close to Chrissy report that she immediately sought support from trusted allies to process the revelation. Sources indicate that she focused on maintaining emotional balance while preparing for potential interactions and public scrutiny. Insider accounts suggest that her approach demonstrates a blend of personal resilience and strategic awareness as she navigates the challenges of managing private emotions in a highly publicized scenario. Observers emphasize that this dual approach, sizing emotional needs while considering public perception, is key to managing high-profile conflicts effectively. Insiders note that Jim Jones' response strategy involved careful consideration of both personal loyalty and public perception. Friends suggest that he monitored social media reactions and private discussions, analyzing the potential consequences of any action or statement. Sources indicate that this strategic approach underscores the complexity of navigating conflicts that involve both personal relationships and the court of public opinion. Observers highlight that in high-stakes celebrity dynamics, the ability to combine emotional intelligence with strategic calculation is essential for maintaining control and credibility. According to Friends, the disclosure of Chrissy's past prompted intense conversations about trust, loyalty, and the consequences of revealing sensitive information. Sources indicate that both allies and observers were analyzing motivations, assessing potential fallout, and preparing for the impact on ongoing relationships. Insider accounts suggest that these discussions were critical in shaping the strategies employed by those involved, highlighting the high level of planning and foresight required when managing personal revelations in a public context. Observers note that such situations demonstrate how private histories can carry significant social and professional weight. When disclosed, social media remained a powerful amplifier, with fans dissecting every statement, body language cue, and reaction from Camron, Chrissy, and Jim Jones. Friends report that the digital discourse created a sense of urgency and heightened scrutiny, pressuring all parties to respond thoughtfully. Sources suggest that the feedback loop between public opinion and personal behavior added complexity to an already tense situation. Observers highlight that the modern landscape of celebrity drama is shaped as much by digital engagement as by the events themselves, with social media serving as both stage and judge. Insiders reveal that Chrissy has been focused on managing both her emotional response and public narrative. Friends indicate that she is taking steps to clarify misinformation, assert her perspective, and navigate the scrutiny of fans and peers. Sources suggest that this proactive approach reflects the need for high-profile individuals to maintain control over their stories, especially when sensitive personal histories are made public. Observers note that her strategy demonstrates how agency and resilience are crucial in maintaining composure and credibility under pressure. Friends close to Jim Jones report that while his silence was initially interpreted as disengagement, it was in fact a calculated method of maintaining authority and perspective. Sources indicate that he is weighing potential responses carefully, balancing emotional reaction with strategic consideration of how his actions will be perceived publicly. Insider accounts emphasize that this restraint highlights the challenge. The fallout from Camron exposing Chrissy's dark past has continued to escalate, with insiders revealing that tensions within their circle remain at an all-time high. Friends close to the situation report that Jim Jones has been deliberate in maintaining a low profile, processing the revelations quietly while evaluating the broader implications on personal relationships and professional alliances. Sources suggest that his silence has been interpreted in multiple ways, by some as a sign of disapproval, by others as a strategic decision to avoid fueling the drama further. Observers note that in high-profile circles, restrained responses can often carry more weight than immediate confrontation. According to insiders, Chrissy has been navigating the emotional aftermath with a mix of frustration, vulnerability, and resilience. Friends report that she has sought support from trusted allies to manage both the personal impact and the public perception of the revelation. Sources indicate that this balancing act is critical as every action, statement, or social media interaction is scrutinized by fans, media, and peers. Observers emphasize that high-profile conflicts require both emotional intelligence and strategic thinking to navigate successfully, especially when private matters become public spectacle. Friends close to Camron describe his role as one of both accountability and revelation. Sources suggest that he was determined to bring clarity to lingering questions surrounding Chrissy's past while ensuring that the information was contextualized accurately. Insider accounts revealed that his decision to disclose certain details was not taken lightly. It required careful planning regarding timing, delivery, and the anticipated reactions of those involved. Observers note that such strategic disclosures can redefine relationships, test loyalties, and influence public perception in ways that are immediate and long-lasting. Social media continues to amplify every development in the story. Friends report that fans have dissected every facial expression, tone of voice, and post from Chrissy, Camron, and Jim Jones, creating a constant feedback loop that intensifies the pressure on everyone involved. Sources suggest that this amplification has forced both Chrissy and Jim Jones to carefully consider each step they take, highlighting the modern reality of celebrity conflict in the digital age. Observers highlight that the combination of public scrutiny and private emotion creates a uniquely challenging environment for high-profile individuals. Insiders reveal that discussions among friends, collaborators, and close associates are ongoing, focusing on strategies to navigate both emotional responses and public narratives. Friends report that conversations often revolve around trust, loyalty, and the potential ramifications of the revelations on both personal and professional fronts. Sources suggest that these strategic discussions are critical in determining next steps, including how to respond publicly, manage private tensions, and anticipate fan and media reactions. Observers note that behind the scenes, conversations often shape the trajectory of high-profile drama, more than public displays alone. According to sources, Jim Jones' decision to remain silent initially was a form of strategic restraint. Friends close to him report that he used the time to assess relationships, evaluate potential repercussions, and consider the most effective course of action. Insider accounts indicate that silence in these circumstances is not passive but a deliberate form of communication, signaling thoughtfulness, authority, and control. Observers emphasize that understanding these subtle dynamics is essential to grasping the full scope of high-profile interpersonal conflicts. Friends report that Chrissy has been proactive in managing her narrative, clarifying misinformation, and asserting control over how her past is portrayed publicly. Sources suggest that this approach demonstrates a blend of personal resilience and strategic awareness, allowing her to navigate the dual pressures of emotional intensity and public scrutiny. Insider accounts highlight that maintaining agency in such a situation is vital for preserving both reputation and personal stability. Observers note that Chrissy's handling of the situation underscores the importance of balancing transparency with discretion. Insiders also indicate that the revelation has prompted reflection and recalibration among those close to the situation. Friends report that allies have been discussing potential strategies for mitigating tension, fostering dialogue, or preparing for future public interactions. Sources suggest that these conversations reveal the complexities of managing relationships that are simultaneously personal, professional, and subject to intense public scrutiny. Observers highlight that this stage of the conflict is critical, as it shapes how the parties involved will respond in the long term. According to sources, Camron's exposure of Chrissy's past has created a moment of reckoning for the entire group. Friends report that it has forced individuals to confront difficult truths, reassess loyalties, and consider how public perception might influence future interactions. Insider accounts indicate that the revelation has prompted strategic thinking, as the parties navigate both personal emotion and the demands of maintaining a professional image. Observers emphasize that high-stakes conflicts are often defined as much by strategy as by emotion, and careful planning is key to navigating fallout. Friends close to Jim Jones report that he has been evaluating potential responses carefully, considering the balance between addressing his feelings, supporting allies, and managing public perception. Sources suggest that this process is complicated by the fast-paced nature of social media and fan scrutiny, which can turn minor missteps into major talking points. Insider accounts emphasize that his measured approach highlights the importance of strategic communication in high-profile drama. Observers note that restraint can often diffuse tension while preserving credibility. Insiders reveal that Chrissy has been focusing on personal reflection and strategic navigation, aiming to maintain composure while, as Part 3 concludes, insiders stress that the drama between Camron, Chrissy, and Jim Jones is far from resolved. Friends report that future developments will likely include both public and private maneuvering, as the parties involved assess emotional responses, strategic considerations, and the impact of social media amplification. Sources indicate that this ongoing saga highlights the delicate balance of managing personal relationships, loyalty, and public perception in high-profile environments. Observers note that the story will continue to evolve, offering insight into the complexities of celebrity conflict and the power of revelation in shaping social and professional dynamics. The exposure of Chrissy's past, combined with Camron's calculated disclosure and Jim Jones' measured silence, exemplifies the intricate interplay of emotion, strategy, and public attention in the entertainment industry. Friends and insiders emphasize that the narrative demonstrates how personal history, loyalty, and visibility converge to create high-stakes drama. Sources suggest that as the situation continues to develop, fans will remain captivated, closely observing how each decision and reaction shapes the outcome of this unfolding story. The shocking exposure of Chrissy's dark past by Camron has sent shockwaves through the hip-hop world, leaving Jim Jones in stunned silence and fans scrambling to understand the full story. This revelation highlights how personal history's loyalty and public perception intersect to create high-stakes drama in the lives of high-profile individuals. Chrissy's reaction, marked by a mix of vulnerability, frustration, and strategic awareness, demonstrates the challenges of managing private matters under intense public scrutiny. Meanwhile, Jim Jones' measured silence underscores the power of restraint and thoughtful response in navigating emotionally charged situations. Insiders reveal that every move, statement, and interaction is being carefully considered. Friends suggest that both Chrissy and Jim Jones are weighing their next steps, balancing emotional responses with strategic planning to maintain credibility, relationships, and public image. Sources indicate that the amplified attention from social media has added layers of complexity, as fans and peers dissect every detail, speculate on motivations, and anticipate potential confrontations or reconciliations. Observers note that this environment creates a feedback loop where public reaction influences private behavior, and vice versa. As the story continues to unfold, it offers a rare glimpse into the intersection of personal vulnerability, loyalty, and strategic navigation in high-profile circles. Fans are encouraged to stay tuned as the drama evolves, revealing the intricate dynamics of trust, accountability, and reputation. The ongoing saga between Camron, Chrissy, and Jim Jones promises further revelations, reactions, and strategic maneuvers, making it one of the most compelling and talked about stories in recent hip-hop history.